Hello everyone and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today wherever you are in this great world. We're gonna talk about XRP. And right now there's a lot of talk about CBDCs once again. It's coming from the Bitcoin maxis. But XRP does not need central bank digital currencies to survive, to hit very high price points. It can fix the current financial system. But I want to show you where we are with CBDCs. This comes from Smoke. Yes, XRP will operate alongside central bank digital currencies within centralized payment systems as an ISO 222 compliant crypto asset. Ripple is one to watch as this new global system rolls out. And you see, ISO 222 should in theory ensure the playing field remains level. You see it right here. And that's what Brad is always talking about. Same thing with Stellar. They all want a level playing field. They want to bank the unbanked as well. And it looks like 2025 is going to be the year that CBDCs begin. We know a lot of countries are ready to roll out their central bank digital currency. Now, here in the United States, I don't think we're going to have a CBDC. I think we're going to have a stablecoin. And if it works out well, a lot of these other countries will start to move away from central bank digital currency over to a stablecoin as well. Because Trump said we're not going to have a central bank digital currency, but we are going to have a digital currency, in my opinion. It's just not going to come from the Fed. Fed now will still survive, though. They're just not going to have their own currency. They will most likely tie in USDC and RLUSD. Remember back in 2020 when they were talking about stimulus and universal basic income back then? I think once we go over to digital money, a lot of people are going to be very reluctant. But what's going to happen is there's going to be a crisis, in my opinion. Whether it be a liquidity crisis that causes the banks to fail or some other massive crisis. And then all of a sudden, they're going to pay out stimulus once again. But I think it's going to come in the form of digital money. So you're going to have a digital wallet to get the digital money from the US government. I don't think it would come directly from the government. Maybe by the time we get to that point, Ripple will have already replaced the Fed. Because I think there's a very good possibility of that happening along the way. But we still got to wait and see where it goes from here. Massive news. XRP, XDC, and Algo are proving that multiple blockchains can coexist and thrive within a unified ledger. It's not just going to be XRP. It's going to be a handful of cryptocurrencies. Take a listen to this.
Now, the unified ledger is not one ledger. There could be multiple ledgers. There are multiple ledgers of different technologies. So it's not saying use only Ethereum or this or that. It can be any underlying ledger. And there will be protocols for interledger transactions. So if I sell a tokenized deposit to somebody else, that can be done from my ledger to that person's ledger.
So think about all of these networks working together inside of the new financial system, the Finternet. And that is absolutely coming. This has been building out for a number of years now, and it all resembles RippleNet technology and XRP, an interledger protocol. But let's get back to Fed now. 1 year ago, Jerome Powell, head of the Fed, hinted at the likelihood of multiple reserve currencies, signaling what's to come. Take a listen.
Possible to have more than one large reserve currency, and there have been times when that was the case. Possible.
So think about what David Schwartz said. There can be multiple world's reserve currencies. I think we're going to have separate reserve currencies. I think it's going to be RLUSD and USDC. One's going to run on the XRP ledger. The other is going to run on the Stellar network. Then it will tie in these other networks as well, like Hedera, Algorand, IOTA, QNT will be holding it all together. But this has been coming for a number of years now. And the fact that we're moving away from central bank digital currency towards stablecoins instead, issued by private companies, this shows you this could lead to the rise of RLUSD and USDC. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says they're investing heavily into a new settlement system. Take a listen.
We're also, as you know, investing heavily right now in building a new settlement system for instant payments in the U.S. It'll be the first such major expansion of our core payment system since the 1970s. We found the case for this quite compelling for consumers, businesses, and just ensuring that all financial institutions have access to the payment system.
Now, for a number of years, Jerome Powell had hinted towards Ripple in the past. I also believe other networks will play a part inside of Fed now. But the Fed is no longer going to be the one creating a digital dollar. But we will have digital money. And I stress that because there's a lot of people that don't believe that that is going to happen because of Trump saying we're not going to have a central bank digital currency. Now, fast forward 2025, Fed Governor Christopher Waller says he's supportive of stablecoins because they are likely to propagate the dollar status as a reserve currency, though they need a clear set of regulations. All we're waiting on is stablecoin regulations in the United States. Then all of a sudden, they're going to announce these certain specific, maybe 2-3 different stablecoins that are going to be the solution for the United States. Even the fact that Ripple called it Real USD tells you everything you need to know. I think Ripple created that for the US government. You got to remember, they were meeting with Trump before Trump was even elected president back in November. They were meeting with Trump over the summer of last year. David Schwartz says user experience is critical for mass adoption. Everybody wants to know when mass adoption is going to happen. Take a listen to David Schwartz here.
You know, I'm most interested in the use cases where there's high friction right now, where people are poorly served. For almost any technology, when you're trying to figure out where you can get the traction, you look for people who are poorly served by the existing technology because you don't have to be perfect to get their business. You just have to be better. Exactly. And the worse it is, the less good you have to be better. And I think areas like real estate, like venture capital, private equity, things like that are just very poorly served. Another thing that works surprisingly is the opposite ends. Actually, both ends work better than the middle. So on one end, people are very poorly served, there's very high friction. On the other end, where believe it or not, where people are very well served and there's very low friction, you can actually get traction because if you can save a very small amount of money, that's better. So for example, tokenized treasuries, you've heard a lot about tokenized treasuries. Those actually work pretty well right now. You might think, well, why would that be an area? And it's because of that. It's because if there's a $3 transaction cost and you can push that down to a fraction of a penny, that's actually a lot because the margins are so small. If I'm only making 2%, you're charging me a couple of basis points. If I can save you a couple of bucks, that actually does matter. So I think it's like the two ends. As far as like what people should focus on, if we're going to turn to the corner to mass adoption, user experience is going to be absolutely critical. The biggest problem with mass adoption is when the users have to understand the details of what they're doing. If you look at any technology that's gotten mass adoption, whether it's the internet, computers, cars, it's when people don't have to understand the details of the technology that it works the best. And so it's getting that user experience. Interoperability is a big part of that. If it's like my money's over here, but the thing I want to do is over here, and I really have to think about that, that's too much work.
It's not worth that. energy and effort.
And that's probably why institutional adoption is going to happen before mass retail adoption, because institutional adoption, that the complexity is not as big of a blocker.
Yeah.
Like I've been saying all along, institutional adoption will lead to mass adoption because the institutions will make it easy for the everyday average person to just onboard to this technology. They'll make it where a person goes in and does a transaction, not even knowing that blockchain was involved in any way, or even crypto. It could even be blockchain utilizing something like XRP to cut down transaction costs for the merchant at the convenience store or the gas station. But one thing I want to point out, whenever I play a clip of David Schwartz talking, he does that right off the top of his head. So this is something that David thinks about on a daily basis. It's kind of like when I make a video. Everything, there's no script involved. I just go off the top of my head, and sometimes I mess up here and there, but so be it. Because these are the things I think about all day long. When I'm not talking about crypto, I'm thinking about things that are happening around crypto, and then I share it with all of you. A lot of times I give you theories in my video because it's something I'm thinking about, and I'm like, okay, so this is my way of thinking. I want to know their way of thinking, and am I on the right track in thinking this way? But David's 100% right. If something's complicated, nobody will use it. If it's simple, everybody will use it. And that's what will lead to mass adoption. Ondo Finance says, we're delighted to announce our surprise closing speaker at the Ondo Summit, Donald Trump Jr. The future of real-world assets in the U.S. is bright, and new leadership has the potential to make the U.S. the global center for crypto. We look forward to hearing Donald Trump Jr.'s unique perspectives on digital asset innovation and global leadership, live at the Ondo Summit. I'm sure we'll get a lot of great talking points coming from Donald Trump Jr. as well. But they want to see everything start to move ahead in the United States. For 4 years, it felt like we were just stuck in the U.S. Everybody else was expanding out, growing. Things were happening all around the world. And the U.S. just did nothing, tried to hold innovation back. But think about it like this. If you're a politician and people are putting money in your pocket to slow down innovation, that's what you're going to do. And that's what they did, in my opinion. They haven't changed the way the stock exchanges have operated in decades. They're doing it because they're threatened by DLT. It's just delaying the inevitable. So the stock exchange, they want to go to a 24/7 trading market. They want to be able to trade 24 hours a day. And that's not going to fix the stock market. There's way too many problems with the stock market. First of all, if you're not rich, you're not making money in the stock market. There's a lot of insider trading that still goes on inside the stock market as well. Look at Nancy Pelosi. She makes a lot of money on insider trading, and we all know it. But eventually, the smart money that's in the stock market, any rich people holding a lot of money in the stock market, they're likely to pivot away from stocks and into crypto. Why? Because crypto is the next big thing. And everybody wants to get in on it. We beat all these people here, by the way. When we were buying XRP under 50 cents not so long ago, we beat everyone to XRP. Now, XRP is sitting here well above $2, and people are now starting to wake up to XRP. Even the Bitcoin maxis are starting to shift money into XRP. I always said the biggest haters on X, the biggest Bitcoin maxis out there, for a fact they're holding this cryptocurrency because they're not going to want to miss out on this opportunity. Sure, they might hate XRP, but guess what? They have to have it. And we're going to see a lot of people shifting even as XRP gets to higher price points. you're going to see some of these big Bitcoin influencers all of a sudden shift and start talking about XRP. We watched it happen when XRP broke up to $2.90, then above $3. Right away, Bitcoin maxis and Bitcoin influencers right away started saying, well, maybe there is hope for XRP. It's because FOMO. They have a fear of missing out. It's human nature. They don't want to miss out on this opportunity. No crypto investor should miss out on XRP. But we are going to make a lot of gains because we beat the institutions to something for the first time in history. All you got to do is sit back and wait for it to happen. And until it does happen, stay patient, stay positive, and let's get rich together. With that said, I'm going to wrap up this video. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate all of you. I'll see you in the next one. Have a great night.